Hi everyone. All right, I have now a guitar. This is a Nautilus. I haven't had time. I built this in between other builds. I built this as a spec guitar, and so it took me a long time to finish it because I'd do it in the cracks. Anyway, so now it gets a video. I think it's going away, leaving the nest very shortly. But I wanted to give it its own due. This is a Carpathian spruce top. So the Carpathian Mountains in Eastern Europe. And this actually comes from Romania. This comes from Transylvania region of Romania. And it is, so I'm calling it blood spruce because I'm going to start a thing. If you got moon spruce, this is blood spruce. What it is actually is a really excellent type of spruce that I consider to be really akin to North American red spruce or Adirondack spruce in sound, in looks. If anything, it tends to be a little lighter colored and purer in appearance and have a little more of the sort of silking than Adirondack. But, you know, like speaking in generalities about a species like that is not really a very useful thing to do because there is so much variation within each given species. Let me just say I really like Carpathian spruce. It seems a little burlier than some of the other European spruces, which, by the way, are all the same species. So the variations in European spruces, Italian, Swiss, German, plain old European, and Carpathian are regional differences and differences in what the individual tree experienced, like what altitude it grew at and the conditions of precipitation during its lifetime, how cold it was, etc. And this is kind of cool because you can see, you know, each one of the lines in the top represents a year of the tree's life. And the dark lines are called winter wood, and those are the part of the tree that grows during the sort of dormant, they're not dormant, but less active winter months. And they really sort of form the structure of the wood. And then spring wood is the lighter parts in between, and that is what the tree puts on during its burst of growth. And then you guessed it, in the spring. And you can tell, you know, watery years from drier years because of the widths of the growth rings. So it's kind of cool. And also I like to imagine that, like, you know, piece of wood like this where there are several hundred lines, that these lines correspond to, you know, historical events. Like, there's King Richard III right there. And there's the moon landing right out here. I mean, when you're holding a guitar, the top, it's just amazing how much older and how much more it's seen than you have. At any rate, something to think about. This stuff is really light and stiff, and it has a wonderful saturated tone, which I love. Onward to a wood I know much less about, which is Malaysian Blackwood. I do know it's an ebony, and I'm assuming it's from Malaysia. This is the first time I've built with this wood, and I like it quite a bit. As you can see, it's really beautiful. It has this dark, overall chocolatey color with like caramely highlights and then black ink lines. It's about as pretty as wood needs to be. And it's sturdy. You know, I build a lot of Brazilian rosewoods, and Brazilian is sort of a persnickety wood. It's you have to be careful with it, and it's prone to cracking. It's just a fact of life. This Malaysian Blackwood feels like you could build a baseball bat out of it. I mean, it's just really, it's got a lot of cross-grain strength. So when I took the offcuts, for instance, and I cut out the back and I was snapping the pieces to throw them in my garbage can. I was like, this stuff is really super strong. So that's kind of cool to know that it has that quality. Also, I'll tell you one other thing, and then I'll actually play something. I promise. This guy has a access panel on the bottom. So I recognize this as a problem. It's something that might have to be overcome by future repairmen, which is really hard to work on these instruments because the sound hole's all the way up here. And things happen down here, you know, like braces get knocked loose or it gets a crack. It's hard to work down there. Now, there are ways to do that. Even if you have Popeye arms, you can do it with magnets. And anyway, it can be done. But this guy, I'm not going to do it in this video, but I tried to design the simplest possible door for this. So this is a laminated piece. Because the bottom is curved, the lamination indexes it into a specific relationship to the back, so it fits. And then I milled this little guy on my lathe, and it's got an end pin, which serves also as the button to unscrew it. And then there's a cross piece, and there's a tail block that's larger, and it's made of Baltic birch plywood. And this thing screws on and off. No one would ever need to take it off until something happened. And it also functions as a strap button, and there are no screws. I have the thing against screws on the outside of my guitar. So that's what's going on with this guitar. Now I'll play it. That's one of the problems with I never rehearse any of these videos, and that was very apparent, right? So, but I'm just going to keep going. So there's that. I'll change the song. So here's some Transylvanian bluegrass. Let's see. So this guy puts it out pretty well. And, you know, playing bluegrass on there is funny. Bluegrass, I love bluegrass, but it's tends to be a very conservative crowd that's bluegrass players. Not always, but sometimes. I wonder if I would just get I'd show up at a bluegrass circle with a guitar that looks like this. I'd get beaten. Anyway, let's see what else can you do on this. You can go. So, the Malaysian Blackwood, I definitely build with it again. I think it's much less, it has less overtone and sustain than a Brazilian guitar would have. But it's in the rosewoody family, and it's certainly the most sort of lively ebony that I've ever encountered. Like, it actually has a tap tone. A lot of ebony is just sort of like turk. There's not much there. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. This one has a back bevel as well as the arm bevel, which means that it fits right in your arms very nicely. I don't know what else to say. I'm done. I'm out of here. There it is. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.